2, 1.
First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Appreciate you joining us here on this Monday. We live stream here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, covering a wide range of topics. We're on our website, on our apps, and of course on YouTube and Facebook as well. So lots of places to find us and to share the show afterward or rewatch those segments that you missed. Right now, we're talking about something coming up this weekend, and that is a robotics championship for students from all around the state, where they'll be competing for the opportunity to go to the Nationals in Houston. And we're going to talk all about that right now. We've got two people joining us. We have Bruse Schafer from OROP. We'll explain what OROP is here in just a second. And we've got Heidi Sipe from the Umatilla School District. And to both of you, thank you really for joining us. And robotics certainly something that would make sense that students are learning and studying about in school, but competing in it as well. That's pretty exciting. And Bruse, could you tell us about OROP and what exactly that is?
Yeah, OROP is, of course, an abbreviation, Oregon Robotics Tournament and Outreach Program. We're a statewide nonprofit that spun out from the Oregon University system in 2014. We're the state affiliate of a national and international nonprofit called FIRST. And that's also an abbreviation for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. Their headquarters is in New Hampshire. Each year they design a challenge for youth robotics, and it's deployed throughout the country and internationally, and we deliver it here in Oregon as an affiliate nonprofit.
And I love it. Everybody loves some good acronyms, so some solid ones right there for both of those. But when it comes down to it, I mean, that's really what it is having these students learn robotics, but also compete in it. And I think that's an interesting way to look about it. I mean, you think of, like Robot Wars or something like that, where robots are fighting each other. I'm not sure how the competition works for this. Can you explain that a little bit more of how is it that they compete in robotics?
Certainly. It's a fairly good analogy to think of a pair of basketball teams. No tackling, no shoving, but a certain amount of blocking is legal. But not 5 on a team. There are 2 robots on a team. Each is controlled by a pair of human drivers. But for the first 30 seconds, the robots are autonomous, and they get extra points for anything they accomplish in those 30 seconds. And then the following 2 minutes, the drivers can take some control, although often the best robots are still fairly autonomous, using sensors to navigate the field and score points by delivering things throughout the field. Right at the end, there's a countdown, and robots can lift themselves using a bar off the field, get extra points. So it's quite exciting, and those go through many elimination rounds throughout the day. So a lot of head-to-head competition between pairs of robots and pairs of youth teams.
And yeah, so it sounds like a good mix of autonomy and actually a human-controlled aspects of it as well, plus blocking each other and all that those other things. That's a lot that goes into that. I can only imagine. And Heidi, maybe if you wouldn't mind talking just a little bit about the teams themselves. So can you tell us about the team at your school district and how that came about?
Sure. So we have 14 FTC teams in the Umatilla School District, and 3 of whom will be competing at state this weekend, and they're very excited about that. In Umatilla, we actually have the whole progression of FIRST programming from the Lego robotics through FTC, which are like the 18 by 18-inch cube robots. And then FRC, we have 2 FRC teams in Umatilla, and those are the robots that are up to 6 feet tall and about 120 pounds. And so for this weekend, the kids are very excited to be at this competition. We have 7th and 8th graders that will be competing from our district on the 3 different teams. They've been refining their robots and learning from watching videos of other matches, being at other experiences, and they're ready for this weekend.
And when it comes to, I mean, it sounds like quite a number of teams just in that school district alone, and this is a program that's across the entire state where where a lot of people can compete in this. How does the instruction of those programs work? How do they have, I mean, is everybody certified? Is somebody certified at your school district to instruct about robotics?
So teams across the nation and across the world handle it differently. And so in our school district, we have a class period during the day that is taught by a certified teacher. And then our high school students from the robotics team go to the middle school and help the middle school students in their classes as well. And then we have an after school component where, again, a mix of certified teachers, paraprofessionals, and our high school students are actually employed during the after school time to assist students during after school classes as well. And then on top of that, in many of these programs, we're also in the shop on Saturdays ready to help kids. I actually help out with the high school team, and a number of adults in our community and our school system participate as volunteers in this program.
Wow, so it's a lot of people involved and a lot of opportunities, it sounds like, for even community members to get involved with it. What's the reaction been like from the students as they go throughout the year, you know, getting ready for this and getting ready for a championship to now get to compete in it?
I think there's a really fun mix of emotions throughout the entire season because each year the game reveal is a big deal and it's a new surprise each year for what that game will entail. Students are very excited for game reveal day and they like to watch the videos and see what will happen. And then they start planning and working. You can see in a variety of the robots, a lot of those parts students are actually fabricating themselves. So you'll see a lot of 3D parts where students have designed those in CAD and then printed them and tested them themselves. And then you'll see the robots themselves will have a whole variety of parts that they've often fabricated. So that build season time, as we call it, is an exciting time where kids are really testing their skill and thinking through their engineering concepts. And the competition is really a whole new level in that the greatest thing about FIRST for me is it's exposing students to so many different careers because there's a lot of volunteers from all around the state that come together in various professions and share their working knowledge with students. And I know one of our favorite high school moments was when our students were having some problems programming and a gentleman came over to help and they were saying, well, we're using this book to help us learn and we're stuck on this spot, and he'd actually written that book. And so it's really fun to see the various professionals that come out to help students, that exposure during competition. And then that's for those local regional competitions. When the kids get to state, the adrenaline is high. They're very excited to be there and they feel a lot of pressure because making it to the world competition means that not only will they get to take a trip to Houston, but that they will also see teams from all around the world. And it's really fun to be at those events and hear all the different languages and see the ways that kids are interacting and learning from one another. It's just a great environment.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, just so many different things you mentioned there. I mean, 3D printing right there, that could be a career offshoot that somebody could go on to. The robotics itself, the mechanical side, the programming side. So yeah, so many different ways that they can get exposed to those different potential careers. Bruse, let me ask you, you know, from the OROP standpoint, how important do you think it is that students right now are studying robotics and associated fields with that?
It's super important, not so much to learn robots themselves, but to come together in a collaborative fashion. School is appropriately focused on individual achievement, with the exception of athletics. And this gives the kids a way to use academic skills and communication skills and other soft skills to gain confidence that they could go on to do this kind of stuff at the college and the career level. And we like to say that this is a sport of the mind where every student can end up becoming a professional, not just the top achievers, although we think all our kids are top achievers.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that, so many different opportunities there for the offshoots outside of that. Something, you know, just to ask this for anybody out there who might be wondering this as well, when it comes to, you know, all of these different teams, how does funding work and getting accurate and enough funding, adequate funding rather, for these teams?
There's a whole variety of ways that different teams are funded. I can speak to our teams in that our school district applies for a variety of grants to support all of these programs. And so our after-school programming is supported by the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant program. We have a variety of federal grants, and as well as the Student Success Act and Measure 98 funds that we use for the high school level programs. And so it is something that we've committed to, and it's because the return on investment is huge for students. We have a number number of students that will come back for kickoff, especially at the high school level each year. And they come back and share with students the variety of skills that they learned in robotics, the ways that they apply those in college and beyond, and share a lot about the different careers that they're in. And it just really is, we like to say, help students dream bigger dreams and really think of the ways that they can do things. But we also have a ton of community support, and many of our team's donors donate $50 or less. And so it's a lot of people contributing, especially when our students do qualify for Worlds and need to travel, then that's very expensive. And so people pull together in our community. We usually have a yard sale where people donate things one day, buy it the next. And there's just a lot of hands on deck to support students. And I always appreciate that and appreciate the way our community shows up for students.
That's great. When it comes to this championship coming up this weekend, so how many teams will be competing in it in total, and how is the champion determined, or the 4 champions?
48 teams out of 120 that participated statewide. Those came from all over the state, Coos Bay, Springfield, you name it. And of course, we know about Umatilla, and a few teams right here in Portland, of course. As to how they win, I've described the elimination rounds. The top teams then form alliances for the last third of the day, and those alliances compete through a double elimination, and the top-ranked alliances form top awards that get them ranking points to be able to go to the national and international event. The reason I say it's complicated is that while that's going on, these teams are interviewed by panels of judges, and the judges learn the innovation that went into the robot design, how much teamwork went into the work they did, how they worked in the community, how they connected with professionals, how they helped younger teams in our first LEGO League program. And those can lead to additional awards, including the overall Inspire Award, which is the top award for the day. So depending on the size of the event, a variety of teams will go on to the next level. We had league tournaments throughout the state based on league events in the fall and into the winter. And those came to state. And as you know, 4 teams will leave Oregon to go to national and international tournament in Texas in about a month.
You mentioned community seems to have been brought up quite a bit, and there are robotics teams all over the state based on what we just learned here from this conversation. And with that, how important is community involvement in these individual cities and towns where this takes place?
Well, it's huge. Most of the teams that we're talking about are from schools, and they almost always get support from their teachers. But also those teams usually reach out into the community. In a high-tech county, they might get some high-tech engineers. In a rural county, they might get technology experts from the farming community. And they end up, those people serve as what we call technical mentors that help the kids learn and enhance what they achieve during the tournament season, the league meets. Some of the teams are strictly neighborhood-based. They might come out of a community center, a church, you name it. It's an open competition. It just happens that it gravitates nicely to middle school and high school because of, as I mentioned, it complements the traditional schoolwork that the kids are doing during the school day.
Heidi, anything else that you think people should know about these robotics competitions? Being there in, say, the Umatilla district, but similar districts all over the state. Anything that's important for the community to know?
I think it's important to come out and watch if you're able, whether it's a local event, whether you have a team in your community. We have open shop time on Saturdays where people from the community can stop in and just see where the kids are at and see the robot. We had police that were on duty the other day that came in and drove the robot and had a good time doing that. I think when we can get people to come in, one, encourage the kids and help them see that what they're doing is important, but also if you ever want to have hope for the future, come out and see what the kids are capable of. It's so fun to see the way that they conduct themselves at these events. There's a concept called gracious professionalism, which is encouraged, and that means that we are always working toward a higher level of support for one another, that we're respectful and that we're kind, and that we're professional towards one another, even during challenge. And I think to see students modeling the type of skills that we would like all adults to model at all times, it's just inspiring. And it's always so fun to see how excited the kids get, how interested they are in these really fun topics. And it always just gives me hope for our future.
Wow.
And
Wow.
near the Portland area, we've got the state event that we've been talking about. It's at Liberty High School in North Hillsborough. The public part of that is on Sunday, March 10th. And it's basically from 9 in the morning till late in the afternoon. So encourage people to come out and find the gymnasium at that school, which is real easy. It's right in the middle, and enjoy the competition and enjoy what the kids have accomplished this season.
Well, Heidi and Bruce, thank you very much for joining me here to talk about this and talk about the program as a whole and all of the important things that these students are learning, but also the importance for the community aspect of it as well. And seeing something positive here happening, and the competition being this weekend. We'll find out, I guess, which 4 teams are going to be heading to that national competition or national and international competition heading to Houston. Really, really exciting. And thanks to both of you, really, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
All right. And for everybody who is watching too, again, this is Fox 12 Now. We live stream here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. and we cover a wide range of topics, and including learning about really interesting things like this, like OROP and the championship that's coming up this weekend. And coming up at 1:30 p.m., we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about entertainment. If you've been watching The Cleaning Lady over the last 2 seasons, the 3rd season comes out tomorrow here on Fox, and I'm going to be talking to the star of that show, Elodie Yung. If you haven't watched The Cleaning Lady yet, you may have watched Daredevil on Netflix. She was Elektra. So that now you know exactly what I'm talking about. She's going to be joining me, though, to talk about The Cleaning Lady, hugely successful show. So that's at 1:30 p.m. Of course, there's breaking news. I'll be here for that as well. But we'll sign off for right now. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.